to help the situation that we're seeing. What is his plan? He goes down there and he does a political stunt like many Republicans do, that we have seen them do, but he actually is not putting forth a plan.
Well, there was a plan in place. It was President Trump's plan. Maybe Joe Biden should do a political stunt at the border. McCarthy, meanwhile, is calling on DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas to either resign immediately or face a potential impeachment inquiry. Joining me right now is Florida Congresswoman, House Homeland Security Committee member, and House Agriculture Committee member Kat Cammack. Congresswoman, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. I know that you were at the border with Kevin McCarthy yesterday. What can you tell us about that trip?
Well, I can tell you first and foremost, our agents need our support more than ever. You know, this is Thanksgiving week, and I am so grateful personally for the work that those men and women do. But what I saw boots on the ground here in El Paso was 12 miles of border that had not a single agent on the line. Every single agent was processing illegals. I saw hordes of tent cities and illegals from Venezuela and Nicaragua. They were waiting to cross over in groups. This is happening every single day, and not a single agent is on the line. It's getting worse by the day. And now with Title 42 going away, we're looking at potentially 18,000 a day coming across, compared to what we're seeing now every day, an average of 7,000 to 8,000 encounters a day. We cannot sustain this. We have lost operational control of the border.
Well, once Title 42 officially goes away, as you said, even Biden administration officials are expecting the number to be 18,000 people a day coming through. If you look at that on a yearly basis, that's 6.5 million people coming through in the year, on top of 5 million people who have crossed into America on Joe Biden's watch. What is the plan? You're an elected official. What is the plan to deal with this 11.5 million people in the next 3 years?
Well, unlike the White House, we actually do have a plan. And I might need to use crayons and write it down and send it over so they can understand it. But we'll make sure that they understand, despite the fact we've been talking about it for months. It was laid out in the Commitment to America. And even before then, President Trump had laid out an excellent plan that had actually stopped much of the issues that we're seeing here today. So first and foremost, we got to get the agents back on the line. We need to reinstate policies like Remain in Mexico. We've got to get the technology and the financial resources down to the border so there are physical structures in place that can help these agents as force multipliers. One of the crazy things is along our southwest border, along those sectors, we have gates that are wide open and that the administration has refused to close. What other message do we have to send to these cartels? And then, hey, the gates are open, send people over. It's absolutely ridiculous that that's happening. And then we need to really get busy on agreements with these foreign countries like Nicaragua. We don't have any agreements in place where we can send people back. So instead, we have to parole people into the country where they have a piece of paper that says in 5 years, you need to show up for a court date to get deported. You think anybody's actually going to show up? We have millions in the country that are paroled here legally now, and that is absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah, no, I know. I've been to the border many times. You've got migrants keeping the flow through the southern border, yeah. Republicans visiting to see this crisis firsthand. Let's look at what our so-called border czar, Vice President Kamala Harris, was doing yesterday. While you were at the border, she was in the Philippines. Watch.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. 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 Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Thank you.
There she is. She's in the Philippines with fishermen. Congresswoman, our border czar is greeting fishermen in the Philippines when there's a crisis at the southern border. What do you want Kamala Harris to do now?
Honestly, I have no words for her. Every time she opens her mouth, it becomes a crisis that the White House needs to clean up. I know there's one thing that if you care about an issue, if you care about something, you actually show up. So it's clear that her priority are fishermen in the Philippines and not our men and women who are on the line here at the southwest border, nor are our first responders or our military. So I'm glad that on the week of Thanksgiving, she's out giving thanks to fishermen in the Philippines. It really shows where the priorities of this White House is, and it's absolutely unacceptable, and it will. couple of years for sure.
We want to know what you're going to be able to do. You have a slimmer majority than people expected.
Yeah.
So what are you going to be able to do to stop this climate change agenda and stop the funding that Joe Biden wants sent to the IRS? He wants, if he hires that 87,000 IRS agents, we're going to have 166,000 IRS agents compared to what? Would you say it's 15 or 20,000 border agents right now? I know at one point it was 20,000, but I heard from my sources a lot of people were retiring and resigning, and it's down to 15,000 border agents versus 166 IRS agents. I mean, that in and of itself tells you the priority of this administration.
That's what's crazy, is that this administration wants to hire 87,000 IRS agents. Day one, our team, the Republican team, we're firing 87,000 IRS agents, many of whom would have had to have been foreign contractors because the IRS couldn't find the manpower to actually fill those positions. We're going to use that money and put that towards our Border Patrol agents. We're about a little over 15,000 agents. We need upwards of 22. But think about this. We have record retirements. No one is coming in to sign up and go to the training, the academy, because they know they're just going to be glorified paper pushers processing illegals into the country. So retention is down, recruitment is down, and of course the horrific suicides that we've seen, agents taking their own lives. We've lost 3 in the last week alone. We need to actually do what is right and put America first. And the vice president needs to get her tail back here and actually show up at the border and talk to these men and women and hear their stories. Not a single one of them believes that the border is secure. Not a single one of them likes what's going on. And this is so far beyond party politics. This is about our national security and our sovereignty. We need someone in the White House who is going to put America first.
Well, I guess it was, 98 people were apprehended at the border who are actually on the terrorist watch list. So there's that. Congresswoman, thanks for going to the border. We know how tough that trip is, and we know some of the things that you've encountered. We've taken the show there 5 times, and it's pretty discouraging. Cammack, thanks very much. Have a happy Thanksgiving to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria. Thanks for staying on this issue.